Well, it was originally created to provide interpreters for the NATO Conference of Mayors in Indianapolis back in 1973. 4 decades later, the International Center is serving as a driving force behind Indiana's status and growth around the globe. The center continues to come up with new initiatives and programs to keep the state in the international spotlight. And International Center President and CEO Martin Baier joins me now with details on what is on the agenda. Martin, welcome via Skype to Inside Indiana Business.
Great seeing you, Gary. Nice tie, by the way.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think we were kind of thinking along the same lines when we got dressed this morning. First of all, I should, in full disclosure, mention that I am on the board of directors of the International Center and proud to serve in that role. But Martin, for those people who don't know or aren't aware of the International Center's role, talk about the International Center and the kinds of things it does on a daily basis.
Well, thank you, Gary. And as you mentioned at the beginning, the International Center has been around for almost 50 years, working in international affairs, actually bringing the world to Indiana, either serving our companies and businesses and helping with logistics for international employees and experts that are coming to our state, hosting delegations and dignitaries from around the world, and also involved in exchange programs with the U.S. Department of State, where they invite emerging leaders from all over the world to come to Indiana. We're the only organization in that program with the State Department.
Martin, in my view, the International Center has always had an important role in our community. And when I say a community, it's not only Indianapolis, but the state of Indiana as well. But we do so many stories about the Indiana presence on the global stage and the companies locating and investing big time here, whether it's Infosys or Solemtech, or we had Saab on the program a bit earlier. So many more companies stepping up and investing in Indiana. In your view, does the role of the International Center kind of elevate itself with that increased profile of Indiana?
Yes, absolutely. And as you know, I'm an expert myself, and we all know this is the right place to do business. And the International Center is a resource. Once a company decides to do business here in our state, then we can help with all the logistics, bringing in their leadership teams and employees. And so being a resource is definitely a plus.
And I know high on your agenda is continuing to come up with initiatives and programs and things that keep the International Center relevant. I want to touch on a couple of those. And one that is new is the James T. Morris Global Leadership Series. Of course, Jim Morris, community, business, philanthropic leader, very tough to overstate his importance on Indianapolis and Indiana over the years. This leadership series is really something that's going to be unique, a first of its kind in Indiana.
Yes, absolutely. And we're proud and honored that Jim Morris is associated with the program. And this is not your basic leadership course, but it's focused on leading effectively across cultures. The program is delivered over 5 full-day monthly sessions, and our confirmed session hosts are organizations that play a key role in Indiana's global landscape, as, for example, the IEDC, the IU Family School of Philanthropy, Taft, and the Indianapolis Airport Authority. And our participants will learn about global leadership from a mix of high-level presenters, speakers, and panelists, but also facilitated dialogues and activities.
Yeah, going to be a very interesting series, and applications for those interested have already begun to be accepted, and that goes, I believe, through mid-June.
Correct. Absolutely.
Okay, good. So the James T. Morris Global Leadership Series. Also something that has been in effect now for a little while. It's still a relatively new program. The Global Impression Award. Talk about that award and why it was really created.
Yes, the Global Impression Award is now in its 3rd year, and it seeks to identify and celebrate emerging leaders who are on early stage of their career, but are already helping Indiana make an impact globally. And there's some incredible work being done here in our state that has a worldwide impact. And we want to celebrate and showcase these outstanding efforts and the young talents behind them. And as you remember, last year's recipient was George Soror with Building Tomorrow, who is doing an incredible work for children in East Africa. And for the Impression Award, we're accepting nominations for this year, starting in June 1st and to July 15th.
All right, good. And that, in terms of another major initiative, should mention very quickly the International Citizen of the Year Award this year will go to former U.S. Congressman and community leader Dan Coates. That'll be a big event, always is a big event a little bit later in the year. Martin Baier, the CEO of the International Center, appreciate your leadership and thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.